continuing on with our 2001 Ford Mustang restoration project. We have a hole in my seat that the seller didn't tell me about, and now we're going to fix it. We also have these janky seatbelt clips that, honestly, I tried a whole bunch of stupid stuff here to it. Tried lighting it on fire to see if it would turn more red. I've heard that could potentially work, but it didn't. I don't know how these get that faded, to be honest. I mean, the car didn't have window tint, so that might explain it, but, you know, I was trying a couple different things here to see if I could get it to turn like a darker red. Didn't work. Didn't work at all. So as you can see here, nothing happened. Then I also researched that if you ceramic coat them, they potentially can turn back to kind of factory OEM dark color. And so I just had some Armor Shield ceramic coating left over. I don't recommend the ceramic coating. I've had mixed results with it. I've had some batches that are good, some batches that are bad. And I took a Q-tip to it. Really should be wearing gloves, but I didn't. And I am going to attempt to see if this actually fixes it, but new shocker for you, didn't do shit, so it stays the same. And honestly, if any of you are watching at this point, it's a miracle, because only about 10 of you have actually watched my restoration videos on restoring this 2001 Ford Mustang that's going to cost me a lot of money, and that I'm going to lose a lot of money on. So anyways, you can see there, I really didn't make any progress at all to this. So I've tried, and here in the upcoming clip, I'm going to do something really stupid that honestly isn't going to make it better. It'll make it look better for now, but it'll eventually wear off, and that is spray paint. Yes, you heard that right, spray paint. Due to heat outside, due to a lot of other things, due to nicking it, all that's going to do is wear off over time, but I eventually took some rubbing alcohol, I cleaned up around the areas, and overall it did look like a deeper red, but over time that's going to fail. So let's get on to the seat. I really did a shitty job patching these seats up. I'm not really happy with my work. This is the first leather repair job that I've ever done. And I essentially started out cutting a hole, and I placed the leather strip inside there. And then I just, started using this putty that you can buy a lot of these different kits. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them, I think, even in AutoZone. A lot of different places. Walmart, I think, has them. I actually ordered this from a company that they matched the leather dye to my original seats, and it was okay. They really didn't give me a lot of this putty, but honestly, I made these look pretty crappy. I mean, it looks better than what it did, but overall, this is just me kind of screwing around with putty for the next little bit. But what I noticed as I was kind of going over this was how hard it is to kind of get smooth, especially over where I had the hole. And what a lot of people recommend is you cut out, a piece of leather, which I found some that was matched to this, and that matched really well. But honestly, it doesn't even matter if it matches, because you're just going to put the putty over it, and then you're going to dye it. But I found some that matched pretty closely. And what I found is, after kind of doing this and over time, is after you kind of let this putty set, it kind of settles into the grooves and into the spaces, and then it just kind of looked like this kind of hole right there, and you're going to see it in some of the upcoming videos. And so I play with this for a hot minute. I went over this so many different times, and honestly, less is more, and just doing it in just small doses, because the more that you put on this, the more likely it's going to have kind of like this smooth effect to it. It's going to look rough, it's going to look bumpy, and more that you're probably going to have to sand in order to get it looking good. So what I did here is I just started to kind of just lightly kind of sand over it, see what it looked like, see if it made any improvements. And when I noticed us sanding over it, it just kind of, I don't know, it didn't look really how I wanted it to. And so I actually go back, and you're going to see here in this next clip that I actually go and add a little bit more leather to it. All right, so after sanding, I decided, didn't look very good. It kind of set back in. So I actually decided to cut another leather piece out, stick it, kind of inside there, to really make it feel full, because what I worried is that it just still felt uneven, that it wouldn't stick on there very good, and I felt like eventually it might poke like another hole in there. And so I was able to kind of sneak this, inside there, inside the leather, so it would hold, and just started doing everything all over again that I'd already done. And I mean, I played on this on multiple coats, and I just had a hard time getting it to look like somewhat smooth and resembling somewhat of a seat. And it just, I don't know, over time it kind of settled in around the leather, and then you try to fill the leather, and then you just end up wasting a whole bunch of your time to make something look not so great, what I did in this video. So, you know, I went over this multiple times, you know, tried a lot of different methods to it. I think doing it again, I could do a better job with it. But you can kind of see there, it had a hard time just kind of settling in spots. Be kind of high, then it would be low, and it just, I don't know, I just struggled, and I struggled, and I struggled, and I struggled. And, you know, I just kind of accepted the fact that, yeah, I could have got replacement seats for it. But at the end of the day, to find these seats, they're pricey. I mean, you're looking, you know, hundreds and hundreds, if not $1,000 or $2,000 to get some new seats. And I looked on eBay, and a lot of them have the same issues. So here I actually start, you know, going over the dye, and then I'll show you guys here in a second what the final product looks like. But just go ahead and take a dump in the toilet, take a picture of it, and it's kind of what it ends up looking like. So now I'm just going to go ahead and spray some of the carpet spray that I have on here, brush it really good, and I'm going to go ahead and start extracting the seats, because I want to get the seats looking really good. And with these Alcantara, which I just wish they would have never created Alcantara. It's just such an annoying product, because what it does is over time is it really just starts to fray, and it just, you know, it's just constant maintenance. I just much prefer just all leather. I get why a lot of car manufacturers do the Alcantara, but to me, my experience with it is over time it looks gross. You have to upkeep it to make it look good. Then it starts to fray, or it gets mad and it just doesn't look good. So I actually took a razor blade to these seats to be able to just kind of remove all of this extra fabric off of there, which we did. And there's also a tool that you know, you can use for your clothes that actually went over this to kind of get all the small little fine pieces out, and did a pretty good job. But honestly, I kept going over this, and over this, and you know, it looked better. Then I also took this tool, which is actually a pet hair removal tool that I use for detailing, and it did a pretty good job. I kind of did a little bit of everything, but it kept, I don't know, stuff just kept coming up. So I felt like it did it for a while. So now, finally taped them off. We're gonna actually dye them, and you can see from a distance the seat looks great, and it looks awesome. So anyways, I taped these off. I started kind of testing some areas, and you know, overall the seats do look better. They look much better than when I got them. This is me taping, and I don't know why I threw this clip in here when you just already saw the footage of them being taped, but you know, here is me kind of going over everything and dyeing it. And what's hard is if you're just dyeing over the actual surface, it doesn't really adhere to it, because you need to sand or kind of create a surface to where it can kind of bond to or adhere to. So overall, spent way more time on these seats than I would like, but you know, they do look better. You'll see in my end reveal video that the seats do end up peeling a little bit. Here's the finished product of what it looks like. Hope you guys liked today's video. If you tackle this, you can do it. Catch you on the next video.